Hello everyone. Now around the world there are particular days in the year that have been chosen as national days to celebrate certain things. I'm going to tell you about a few of those that happen in April, but I want you to guess what they are. I'll show you a picture and want you to guess what is being celebrated on that particular day. Don't call out, just have a think. Are you ready? Here's the first one. It takes place on the 3rd of April. So, what do you think certain people around the world celebrate on this day? Rainbows. That's right. In fact, it is National Find a Rainbow Day. The next one is on the 14th of April. And here is the picture clue. Do you know what animals these are? How many of you think they're dolphins? Well done, you're right. The 14th of April is National Dolphin Day. Right, let's jump to the 28th of April. And here is your clue. What do you think about that? Who is it? Or what sort of person is he? The 28th of April is National Superhero Day. Now I guess it might depend on who you think the real superheroes are. Maybe it's your teachers. Anyway, here's the last one. It takes place on the 23rd of April. And here is the clue. Do you know who this is? The 23rd of April is St. George's Day. And he is the Saint of England. Interestingly, he's not only the Saint of England, but he's also the Saint of Portugal, Ethiopia, Venice, and other places as well. But who was he? I think we might have to do some detective work. Are you up for that? Now, we don't know a lot about him. Some of it is true, and some of it isn't. But what might surprise you is that George wasn't English. And in fact, he never came to England. He was born about 1,800 years ago in the town of Cappadocia, in what is now Turkey, by this red arrow. Later he moved to a town in what is now Israel, which is here by that blue arrow. He's brought up in the Christian faith as both his mum and dad were Christians. When he grew up, he became a soldier, and he was probably in the... Do you know which army this is? It's the Roman army. Some have said he might even have been part of one of the special regiments, the one that protects the emperor himself. The Roman emperor at the time was a man called Diocletian, and here's a statue of him. And he did not like Christians at all. If you were a Christian, you could be put to death. Diocletian started by having all the Christians removed from the army, but George told the emperor that this was a wrong thing to do. George then told him that in fact he was also a Christian. The emperor was so angry and treated George very badly to try and force him to stop following the Christian faith. But George wouldn't do it. In the end, Emperor Diocletian had George put to death. What a wicked thing to do. So George died on the 23rd of April, 303. But as a result of his death, many people became Christians as well. Then nearly 200 years later, the Pope, a man called Gelasius, and here he is, decided to make George a saint. Not that George was any more special than anybody else, but Gelasius recognised his courageous stand for the Christian faith. But it wouldn't be for another 850 years that King Edward III of England made George the Saint of England, because of the sort of person they believed George was. But there's one particular story about St. George that he is remembered for. Did he, or did he not, fight what is he famous for fighting? Do you know? A dragon. Did George fight a dragon? The story goes that a certain dragon would not let the people of a particular village have water from a spring unless they offered one of their cattle as a sacrifice to him. Soon they had no more cattle left, so one of the villagers themselves would have to be the offering. Then one day the princess was chosen as the offering. But George came along, defeated the dragon and rescued the princess. Some think it's a made-up story to teach good and evil. Others say it was a crocodile, and some have suggested that he fought a dinosaur. But whatever you think, April the 23rd is St. George's Day and has been celebrated in England for many, many years. Today you can find images of St. George in many different places. I wonder if you've seen any of them. There are stained glass windows in churches of him. There are statues of him, and even street names with him. Sometimes you may see people dressed up as him fighting a dragon. Yet sadly today there is still a lot of persecution. In other words, there are many people who are treated very badly because of what they believe, just as George was all those years ago. So how do we treat those who believe something different from us? How should we treat those who believe something different from us? The Bible says this: as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people. We don't have to agree with each other, but we do need to get on. And when we can, do good to each other. But what do you think it means to do good to each other? Perhaps we could think of it like this: treat others the way you would like them to treat you. So, the way you speak to those who believe something different to you, would you want them to speak to you in that same way? Or the way you treat those in the playground who believe something different to you, would you want them to treat you in the same way? Have a think. Well, I hope that whatever you're doing, you all have a very happy St. George's Day. And until next time, cheerio.